Hey, what's up guys? It's the Film Geek here, and here is my top 10 best movies of 2010. Before we get to the list, I have to name two honorable mentions that were originally in my top 10 until I discovered that they actually came out before 2010 in other countries. The first of those is Ip Man. It made its United States premiere in 2010. However, it actually came out in China in 2008. So this is a 2-year-old movie, despite the fact that it just came out here this year. The other one is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I thought it came out in 2010 everywhere. That just came out in Europe first, but apparently when it came out in Europe, it was still 2009. So it also cannot be in my top 10 list. So, with those being said, here comes the top 10. At number 10, The Fighter. I have been saying everywhere that The Fighter is a really good movie, but it's not good enough to make my top 10. It originally was not there until I realized that those two foreign films came out before. So The Fighter, it just barely got in there. Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. Yes, this was a straight-to-DVD animation, but it was a damn good movie, and I recommend checking it out to any comic book fans out there. Number 8, Kick-Ass. This movie was sweet. I mean, you have a little girl get, like, hit in the freaking face and saying the word cunt. How great is that? This movie was awesome. It was very original, and I liked it a lot. Number 7 is Black Swan. This movie had a great story, fantastic acting, and some pretty cool direction. So it makes it number 7 in my list. Coming at number 6 is Going the Distance, and this movie completely threw me off balance. I was not expecting this movie to be anywhere near as good as it was, and I thought it was great. Most people didn't see the movie because they're like, oh, it's a romantic comedy, not going to bother with it. Trust me, bother with it, deal with it. If you have Netflix, get it. If you ever use Redbox, it's only $1. Get this movie. I saw it this week on DVD, and it blew me away. I gave it a 5 out of 5 in my ratings on my stack. This movie is just outstanding. Check it out. Number 5 is Inception. You guys are probably all going to send me a bunch of hate mail now for having Inception in the middle of my list rather than the top of my list. But as good of a movie as it was, I just thought there were 4 movies better than it. Which brings us to the first of those 4 movies, How to Train Your Dragon. I saw this movie in 3D when it first came out. The 3D was absolutely amazing. Best use of 3D any movie has ever done yet, in my opinion, at least of those I've seen. Keep in mind, I have not seen Jackass 3D, so I can't compare that one. This movie, How to Train Your Dragon, had me crying, it had me laughing, it had me on the edge of my seat. It was an amazing story with great voice cast and awesome animation. It's my number 4 pick. My number 3 pick for 2010 is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This movie was original. It had great acting, cool story, amazing fight sequences, and great special effects that really made it as good of a movie as it is, especially for people who are comic book and or video game fans. Number 2 movie of the year is Like Dandelion Dust. Most of you have probably never even heard of this movie unless you saw my review of it back in October. It was a fantastic movie that had me bawling like a baby for like the last 20 minutes of the movie straight. This movie had the most emotional impact of any movie I've seen in quite some time. And if there's any way for you to find this movie to check it out, do so. You will not regret it. It was great. Which means I'm down to number 1. The best movie of 2010, according to the Film Geek, is 127 Hours. The acting was superb. The camera work was out of this world. The direction was great. The story is amazing and a true story, which makes it even better. Everything about 127 Hours was, in my opinion, perfection. Check out 127 Hours if it comes anywhere near you, because it's my number 1 pick of 2010. So, those are my top 10 of the year. I know you guys are probably going to hate me for having Inception in the middle of my list, but hopefully you won't hit on me too hard with the hate mail.